I first heard about Birch Community Services about 10 years ago, and there was a friend of mine from church that was using this services, and I wasn't sure what it was. There was a group of ladies that said they were going to Birch, and I knew they were getting food.
It sounded pretty amazing, but from what I understood, a lot of times it's kind of just leftovers and kind of gleaning, I think was originally the name, gleaners. So kind of was like, oh, it's probably not for us.
We joined 6 years ago, Birch, because Tim had lost his job. So the friend that I had mentioned, I contacted her and said I'd like to be a part of that program. I knew it would help us because we needed food. And she took me there and showed me around and showed me how it worked. Well, I knew the families that were using Birch needed it to help them out. So I didn't look at it as a food bank, and I'm not super familiar with food banks because I haven't done one myself. I just looked at it as this is something that's helping them out in their family. So if money was tight, it was bringing in extra food, extra clothes. I would hear some random stories of things that they would get, and I'm like, what?
So my role at Birch over the last 6 years has been a little bit of donation pickups, working in the warehouse, and doing my volunteer time. And since we've been there over 4 years, at 4 years I think you have to do more hours of service, and so I do 4 hours every month.
Well, I was thinking about this last night. Some of my favorite things from Birch have definitely been the clothes. Like when I look around at our kids and us, I'm like, man, I think there's like 80-90% of the things that we wear are from Birch, which is such a blessing because clothing is super expensive. And our family has a lot of dietary needs, and Birch has provided so many times over and over again. Like some of our favorites are Cascadia Bakery. I love getting stuff from them. And the other thing is like the dairy-free yogurts my daughter loves. So it's always a surprise.
For me, it's been the Danner boots, the coffee. I drink so much coffee, and so having like different varieties of coffee. And yeah, it's always different each week, month. So it's kind of fun to have variety, and we get that every week.
I have a Barbie doll, and I like her, and I named her Canik. And one of my favorite things was my tennis clothes, rollerblades, and roller skates.
We already had a pretty good understanding of budgeting and living within our means, but the idea of focusing on an emergency fund, the idea of really having a goal to get out of debt, even our home loan debt, well, I think it saved us around $15,000 to $20,000. It's encouraging to hear the kids get a concept of money at such a young age, to realize that you don't spend what you don't have. So it's great to have them participate in our end goal, and they get it. They get like, okay, we want to do an addition for the house. We want to be out of debt, and they don't mind contributing to that end goal.
jazz singer Marti Mendenhall, and I'm here with
Kristen Bellings of the Storella Sisters. So, Marti, I want to know, what is this all about?
Well, today is a streaming live cookbook release party.
Okay, wait a minute. So this is a brand new cookbook?
Yes, brand new cookbook. It's actually called Marti's Music Kitchen Season 1 podcast cookbook, and it's got it ties together all the best ingredients of the podcast, which is recipes, food, interviews, podcasts, and it's just fabulous. I'm very excited about it.
That is incredible. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I cannot stop collecting cookbooks, so this is such exciting news. Now, if you have not experienced the Marti's Music Kitchen podcast, you should totally check it out. It's listed on iTunes and Spotify and SoundCloud and about 20 other directories, and you should absolutely subscribe to follow this woman.
Well, you know, we're here about the cookbook, but we're also here for completely kind of a partnership reason, and that is when I was thinking about funding or doing this cookbook release party, I wanted to partner with a food charity because it's a food cookbook and someone that, or a company, an organization that helps people with food. And I found Birch Community Services. I absolutely love them. And so all of the packages that I've put together today all have a donation towards Birch Community Services, and I've discounted the interactive version and the physical version of the book to make that work. So
that is incredible. Now, I know this is not your first rodeo with raising funds. You actually helped raise funds for the Shriners Hospital system in Oregon, didn't you?
I did. I was actually honored to be the first lady of the Al Cater Shriners in Oregon in 2019. That means my guy was potentate, head guy, and we traveled all over Oregon and all over the United States raising awareness and funds for the Shriners Hospital system. And at the end, just from my ladies project, I was able to give them a $12,000 check towards a certain function in their hospital, and it made me feel really good.
That is incredible. Well, that is what we're hoping to do today. If you're on Facebook or on YouTube Live, if you can switch to martimendenhall.com, you can watch the same release party that you're watching right now, but also simultaneously check out the cookbook and opportunities for donating. So there's a giant link right before or right underneath of the screen where you'd be watching us, and you can see all of the cookbook packages, and each package has a built-in tax-deductible donation that goes directly to Birch Community Services. So let's hear from one of the BCS participants in this upcoming short.
When COVID-19 started, one of my first concerns was how is this going to affect Birch and then in turn our family. I was overwhelmed and so thankful to see that the donations are still coming in, and this has been a place of safety, and I love how Birch has felt like a safe place. My husband works in the auto industry, and probably my favorite thing about coming to Birch is that very first year when we found out about the boot program, he was able to replace some boots that were actually not safe for his workplace with ones that were much better. That has been a huge resource to our family. So during our time here at Birch, we have managed to pay off one credit card, and we now have a savings account. One of the best things that Birch does well, they do a lot of things well, but is integrating all of us who are participants in volunteering. They make it easy for people to access, but also we have responsibility, which I think is very important. I appreciate that my kids are able to witness what the community is doing to help others and how we are responsible for part of how Birch runs and the example that it sets for them.
I'm Xavier Entity. I've been at Birch Community Services since October of 2020. Something really cool about Birch, one of its founders, Barry Birch, once said it was 90% about people and 10% about food. And I think it really shows the longer you're a part of the program. Birch creates about 90% of my wife's and my groceries. It makes a real difference. I've had a chance to go through Restart once when I was a member of Birch as a single individual and had some medical debt. And I've since rejoined the program with my wife. We meet with Dino annually to discuss our finances and our family vision. The family vision kind of makes the financial literacy aspect of Birch a very real process. Before I was a member at Birch, I tried budgeting, I tried financial planning, and it would be a really unfocused practice for me. But then my wife and I discussing where do we want to go with our family? How do we want to prioritize our finances? It makes it a focal point for how our money isn't just a means of getting by, but actually a tool for serving our communities and for serving our future children. It's a great place to be if you're struggling with your finances, if you're dealing with a lot of debt, because what you quickly start to see in your volunteering and your shopping is that we're all just trying to figure it out together. For everyone who's in need financially or is in need of better access to food, you are welcome here regardless of anything. Everyone's welcome here who's willing to work.
Hi, I'm back, and I'm here to welcome Suzanne and Valerie. Suzanne Birch, actually, from Birch Community Services, and Valerie Rippey. And I want to say welcome. It's an honor to be partnered with you, and I want to give you, on behalf of the musicians that are in the show, we're going to start this thing off with just a straight $200 check for you to help out feeding families. And then we also have signed cookbooks for you, both. So there you go. And we want to know, first of all, Suzanne, how did this whole thing get started?
Well, certainly unintentionally. When my husband and I got married, we had a commitment to be debt-free, and we found that we were meeting a lot of people struggling with purchasing food for their families. And when we were approached by an organization that had extra bread that was going to waste, we thought, oh, we can pass that on to someone who then can save that money and use it to pay their other bills also.
Oh.
So that was almost 30 years ago, and
wow.
Yeah, so no.
Well, I'm here to say that, I went through 40 years ago. I used an organization that is similar to yours to help me get back on my feet. They helped me learn how to budget and put myself together, and now I'm completely out of debt, and I own my own house, and I couldn't have done it without the help of an organization such as yours. So what is the creative kind of force? Like, how does this work in you helping other people, Valerie?
Yeah, Birch Community Services is unique in that it's not just providing food for families once and sending them on their way, but families come and they commit to being part of our community at Birch. So they come, they volunteer every month, they shop every week, they enroll in our financial literacy class and meet one-on-one with a financial counselor so that they can get one-on-one advice, because everyone is different. Everyone is struggling for a different reason, but we can help them get from where they are to the next step. And just that piece of volunteering, all of our participants get to know each other. Starting from Suzanne and Barry's living room, giving out bread from their living room and garage, we now have a 22,000 square foot warehouse and have about 600 families that come every week.
Yeah, I toured that. It's actually very impressive, and you guys have trucks. And explain to us, how do you get the food to fill your warehouse?
Yeah, so all of our food is donated. In 29 years, we have never purchased food. It's all surplus from large grocery stores, distributors, restaurants that would otherwise be going to waste. So Birch not only is able to get this food to people who need it, but also it's keeping this food out of the landfill.
Yeah, that's nice. And you also have a number of food pantries that come to you and supply, fill their supplies to help other people as well. Is that right?
We do, yeah. We have about 70 other nonprofits who are smaller than we are. So we're able to go and pick up large quantities of food from these grocery stores and distributors, and there are a lot of smaller places that don't have that capacity, a lot of church food pantries or shelters or after school programs, so they're able to come get food from Birch and give to their population. So through those agencies we reach about 20,000 people every week.
That is an amazing. I had no idea. 70 other organizations. That's fantastic. So when people donate to the packages, can you tell me where does the money go?
Yeah, so the money goes directly towards helping get food and financial education to our families. So it helps them be able to come and shop at Birch just like a normal grocery store, being able to pick the foods that they want and they will need for their families. We're set up so that people have choice and dignity in coming to Birch. So any of those donations directly help those families be able to feed their own families and take care of what they need and get ahead and get out of debt.
What incredible service you provide to the community as well as to the environment. That is just amazing, and I hope that you guys get lots of donations today.
Yeah, so we're hoping for the best here, and we want to encourage everyone to click on that big link below the video at martimendenhall.com and check out some of the donation packages today and help out Birch Community Services on literally thousands of people in Portland. So thank you both for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're so excited and excited for your cookbook too. This is going to be very exciting.
Enjoy it. So I want to introduce to you our first live performance today. It's one of my season 1 guests on the podcast, and here comes Chasing Ebenezer.
Here's a song for the men we see, living out the American dream, breaking their back for peace and security. Selling their soul to silver and gold, till moth and rust and growing old, lead them back to the dirt from where they came.
Oh, come and drink from the water. Oh, come and drink for free. Oh, the streams that flow are priceless.
They're what you really need
to wash away the greed. Here's a song for the working man, trusting in his well-laid plans.
Rest in hope on foundations made of sand.
The rain had poured, the levee broke,
the economy crashed, that's all she wrote.
Begging for a bailout from the lender's hand. So we say,
oh, come and drink from the water. Oh, come and drink for free. The streams that flow are priceless. They're what you really need
to wash away the greed. This how it's supposed to be, or could it be harmony? It's a change.
Physical death and natural birth, bleeding our souls to work the earth. Could it be the snake bite running through our veins? We need an antidote. We need a cure. We need an antidote. We need a cure. Is there a blood transfusion I can get to overcome my fear feel regret. Blood transfusion I can get to overcome the world. Is there a blood transfusion I can get to overcome my fear, regret? Blood transfusion I can get to overcome the world. Oh, come and drink from the water. Oh, come and drink for free. The streams that flow are priceless. Come rest your weary feet
and wash away.
Oh, come and drink from the water. Oh, come and drink for free.
Oh, come and drink for free.
The streams that flow are priceless. Come rest your weary feet and wash away your need. I am a refugee running from the enemy. I am a refugee running to you. I am a refugee running from the enemy. I am a refugee running to you. Oh.
Good to see you. How are you? So first of all, I want to give you your cookbook.
I've been so excited.
We're really excited.
And I wrote you a little note in here. So anyway, I'm just going to hand it off and enjoy it. So tell me about that song you wrote. What's it about?
Oh man, it's about so many things. It's about the fact that life is hard and we sometimes assume that that's the way it has to be instead of having hope and pushing through stuff.
Yeah, and that's actually what today is about. It's giving others hope. So I'm hoping that hope is going to abide and people are going to buy those cookbooks.
Yes, please buy
donate
it.
to Birch Community Services. So, yeah. So do you know about Birch Community Services?
Yes, we do.
Tell me more.
So I made a job transition about, 10 years ago. And, we were just in a spot where we needed a little extra help, and we were
laid off unexpectedly.
I also did that for a while, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
So for about 6 months, we were able to just gave us a breath to figure out, okay, and so, so grateful.
It's an amazing thing. So what's next on the horizon for you guys? What kind of creative projects do you have going on right now?
New album.
That is what our hope is for next year, yeah.
Seriously?
Yes.
Are you?
Maybe, but we'll see if it's done or not.
It's the beginning phases. You know how these things go.
The idea, the form, the plan is that's what phase we're in. Yeah.
That's right. And tell me real quick, what's the recipe that you have in the book?
Oh yeah, it's a farmer's risotto. We play so many farmers markets, so they're so inspiring. So check out your local farmers market.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much for being here.
Congratulations.
Thank you, and thanks for singing live. I appreciate it. And on the heels of that, we've got a very special message from Mr. Tony Starlight.
Hello, Marty. It's your old friend Tony Starlight, along with my old friend Boney Starlight. Of course, Boney is everybody's friend. He's always waving. It's a good way to make friends. And I consider you a friend, and so I'm very delighted that I see that you're finally coming out with this cookbook. And I was proud to be included as part of it. I look forward to getting my copy and cooking my way through the recipes and sharing good times and good food with the people that are all together, bound between those two covers of your new project. I really enjoyed you coming out and visiting me at my home on the Multnomah Channel in Scappoose. Well, now I'm coming to you from my new home here in Georgetown, South Carolina. And again, I really look forward to getting that cookbook and bringing a little of the Pacific Northwest to me here in the Southeast. Now, I didn't want this occasion to go unspoiled by a Tony Starlight song, so here I am singing you something that I wrote literally 5 minutes ago. Hey kids, guess guess who's got a new book full of good recipes that you can cook? We'll eat the fatted calf tonight, so stick around. You're gonna be so happy with this new thrill that you found. There's candy and cookies, all types of food. Oh, but it's so damn good. Marty and the chefs. Oh, but she's weird, but she's wonderful. Oh, Marty, you're really keen. She comes to your house, she cooks with you. You know, I read it in a Facebook post. Oh, no. Marty and the chefs. I wish you well.
If you are just joining us, here's a reminder to go to martymendenhall.com. If you are not already there, that's where you can purchase cookbooks and donate to Birch Community Services. So, Marty, first of all, I know we have some folks joining us today on the live stream.
We do. Actually, I want to give a shout out to Peter Gunn and Leanne and Little Hadley. I'm so glad that you're here. And I noticed also that Tom Bowers is here. I want to say hi, Tom. I really appreciate you. He's been doing the editing, the auto editing for the podcasts on season 2. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
That's incredible. So, Marty, tell me more in your words what goes on in your podcast.
Well, I find a unique and wonderful guest who's got a recipe to share. I found that most creative people that I know, they're pretty good cooks for the most part. It's just that it blends over, kind of bleeds over into the kitchen, you know, and that creativity and making things. And we, sometimes my guests perform live if they're a musician. We cook a recipe together, and we laugh a lot. I have a slogan that's anything can happen in the kitchen, and really anything can happen in the kitchen. For example, Mark Bitterman, who wrote one of my forewords for the book, he made, I think they were martinis. Oh my God, they were so strong. I took one sip at the beginning of the interview, and I was thinking, oh my God, how am I going to make it through the rest? Because they were like, woo! I mean, it was great. The food was wonderful, but anything can happen, and it's just a really fun, touching information about where they got their recipes and their families and how we're all connected by these things. So that's what it's about.
Absolutely. And yes, having listened to that Mark Bitterman one, I loved that one. It was fantastic. So, okay, you just finished season 2.
Yep.
What's next? Any changes?
Well, we've got season 3 coming up, starting in December, which is super exciting. And my next endeavor is going to be the Friends and Family Cookbook.
That's right. And if you want your recipes to be featured in this cookbook, you can email Marty at martysings@gmail.com, and that's MARTI sings@gmail.com. Now, Marty, what is your connection with? Oh no, wait a minute. Did you have more to say about the recipes? I think you did.
Did I?
Yes.
Well, the recipes, I'm super excited. I'm gonna take a look at them, and I'll get back to you about the recipes. And also, I should mention that season 3, we're opening up to not only musicians and chefs and foodies and creative people, but all creatives. So poets, artists, singers, actors, you know, anything goes. It's going to be just this beautiful, wide paintbrush of humanity, and I can't wait.
I love that. I can't wait either. So now, what is your connection with Oregon Music News?
Well, Tom D'Antoni is the editor of Oregon Music News, and he and I have been friends for years. He had me on his podcast, and I started off this venture on a radio station, and I was horribly unhappy. And Tom listened to me, and he said, hey, Marty, you should really consider doing this on your own. I mean, and we talked about it a lot, and he said, you know, I would put it on the air. Well, let's check it out. And I went, really? I mean, he's been my rock. If it weren't for him, this would not have gotten off the ground. And he's listened to me cry on the phone for hours, and he's encouraged me every step of the way. And I'm so deeply grateful for Oregon Music News and what Tom has done. And Tom is here today with us, and I'd like to introduce Mr. Tom D'Antoni. Hi, Tom.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm old.
Well, I want to start this off by giving you your own signed copy of the cookbook.
Awesome.
Yes, and I'm just...
Why, I must have written the foreword on this.
You did actually write the foreword in it, and I'm very grateful for that. So,
and it was
your picture is in there, and
oh no, my picture!
A glowing review. I'm so deeply grateful. So
I hope it's from years ago.
Not years ago, but a while ago. Yeah. So, what's new with you?
Well, we survived the pandemic. That's
amazing.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It was touch and go for a while because we got a small grant and that kept us going, and then the advertisers started coming back little by little. But the one advertiser who's been with us from day one, the Crystal Ballroom.
Yeah, Crystal Ballroom.
They came back.
Uh-huh.
So here we are.
Yeah, and what kinds of things can people find? What kinds of articles and things can they find on Oregon
Well,
Music?
it's interesting. We had gone through a transition because I don't really believe that people want to read about music anymore.
Oh.
And so we made a conscious decision to go mostly not all, but mostly multimedia.
Oh.
And we had a whole lot of photographers. They're coming back. They're sort of trickling back. They weren't happy about shooting indoors.
Yeah.
And they're still a little shaky about it. But they're back, and we've got probably the best jazz writer in town.
Right.
Michael Shoehorn Conley.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
We'd like to do more.
I love that.
Of course, we've got our popular podcast, Coffee Shop Conversations.
Yes, because that's your podcast.
My podcast.
And what kind of people do you interview?
You.
Okay, I have been
Actually,
on Coffee Shop Conversations a while ago.
And
so.
we'll again as
I'm excited to do that. After this all gets launched and off, you and I can go have coffee somewhere and just sit down and talk.
Well, we do them at Artichoke Music.
Right.
And they've been good partners in this. We do it in the cafe, and it's fun.
And it's on video too, right?
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's mostly audio. We were doing more video. We did an interesting series of video episodes, which were couples who are both working musicians.
Really?
Sometimes work together, sometimes they don't. But it was really cool. It was Lisa Mann and Alan Markell and Chance Hayden and his wife. I can't wait. I can't remember.
And his wife. That's all you need to say.
No, that's not all I need to say, because I emceed their benefit at the Secret Society when that was open, when she was out here pregnant, and anyway. So I should know her name, but I can't remember anybody's name.
That's okay.
But anyway, so and we had interesting. It was interesting. We had a same-sex couple, two women from a band called Dark Swoon.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Well, the name is perfect for what they play. Because it's kind of gothy, it's kind of shoegaze, this and that. But we have all kinds of stuff. This week, coming up, John Waters is on.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you've already done that. You pre-recorded it, right?
Yeah.
How was the interview?
Well, he's always fun. I've known him since 1970.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wasn't very old in 1970. I was still around, but wasn't very old yet. So
we had serially. We rented an apartment serially.
Really?
He moved out, and then we moved in. I was the editor of the underground paper in Baltimore, the hippie paper.
Right.
And of course, he was John Waters,
Right.
And that was in our living room. There was where Divine had gotten raped by a giant lobster.
Oh wow! Really?
Well, it's John Waters.
That's pretty shocking.
That's John Waters.
Okay.
That's what he was known for,
That's true. Wow.
So this is great. This is really good. It's beautiful.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got all color photos, which is actually a challenge when publishing it, because we wanted to make sure that we had enough gloss on the pages. And when you're doing it on your own, it's a challenge to find the right printer and the the right everything that starts that off. So
yeah. Great.
Well, Tom, thank you so very much for helping me. I am deeply grateful because I love this podcast. I love it. I have so much fun every day, every interview, and I hope that when you read the cookbook, it'll jump off the page to you.
That's obvious.
So, well, there you go. So,
you should. I mean, I'll never forget. We were at the Blues Festival the week before it premiered, and you must have stopped 10,000 people. We had a booth at the Blues Festival.
I do remember 10,000. I did stop a lot of people.
You stopped a lot of people.
Like, hey, have you heard of?
Really?
So well, yeah, we do pretty well now. We've got about 20,000 plays an episode, so we're crawling up there. So we'll keep on working. So again, thank you so much for coming down today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and nice to see you.
So I'm going to introduce another season 1 guest that it's a whole band that's here to treat us today. I'm very excited about this one. I'd like to throw it to the Colin Trio.
Flowers on bloom, and birds be wailing. All I feel is blue. You might say this song sounds like someone new. I say what comes pouring out is what I give to you. So where you been? Where you been? Oh, my happy heart. Why do you leave me standing in this dark parking lot with all my nightmares? Tell me to heal the past, waiting in this velvet, trailing fast. Days like these, I just don't understand. How'd I get so lucky? Why don't I feel so damn down in the dumps? Oh, my line is cloud, and I got all the somethings that could ever be found. Said where you been? Oh, where you been? Oh, my happy heart. Why do you leave me standing in this dark parking lot with all my nightmares? Tell me to heal the past, waiting in this velvet, drowning back. Woke up in a fog and you were standing right there. You and your dog said, where you been? Oh, where you been? Oh, my happy heart. Why do you leave me standing in this dark parking lot with all my nightmares? Tell me to heal the past, waiting in this velvet.
bring you a cookbook.
Oh, thank you.
And then, Cheo, I brought one for you too. So, hi guys, how's it going? Good. You're going to talk on the mic, and then thank you so much for coming out today and playing. I appreciate it. So, tell me a little bit about that song that you just sang.
Well, that would be up to her there.
That would be up to Colin.
Well, when John was like, "What do you want me to play on this?" I just said, "Play all the Charlie Brown teacher sounds, please." Right? Yeah.
And that works
Totally.
great, right?
Yeah.
You knew what she meant.
I knew exactly what you want.
It's fantastic.
Saucy, you know?
Yeah, that's great. And then when you guys were on the show, Brian, you did some cooking for me, didn't you?
Yeah. No,
Yeah, so what'd you cook up?
Well, I cooked Cousin Mikey clams, which I named after Cousin Mikey, who showed me how to make good clams.
Right.
You know?
I mean, I still think about those clams. We dipped the bread. The sauce was so good, we dipped bread in it afterwards. And I still think about those. They were so tremendously good.
It's all about the sauce because, even people who are like a little apprehensive about eating clams, they can still dip the bread in the sauce, and it's fantastic. And maybe they're like, wow, there's something good here. Maybe I do want to try the clams.
Right. It was really, really good. Yeah. So what else did you make?
Oh, and I made the tuna melt. So you get the tuna steaks, and then you cook them like you would cook a steak, in the cast iron. And it's almost like, it almost feels sacrilegious when you cook such a beautiful tuna steak, and then you chop it up and make it into a tuna melt.
That's kind of how I felt. I mean, you had this in this beautiful skillet, which I'll ask you about in a second. And then it was like we chopped it up. I was like, oh.
I know. The first time I did it, I felt so bad, But then I was like, no, this is good, and this is the way we like it. And
you can't get it any fresher, right?
Oh yeah. No, it came out very good.
Yeah,
very good.
And then tell me about the cast iron skillet, because that for me was the highlight of the show.
So yeah, that was my grandmother's, and she had it, and. It's about 100 years old, and she had it for a long time. Then my parents got it, and then I eventually got it. It's kind of my prized possession, If you break into my house, steal my base, you can have it, but don't take my pan.
Yeah.
And
well, it could also be a weapon.
Oh, yeah, right.
But, right.
And it's so smooth on top, you work out all that, and just there's a lot of magic in that pan.
So how often do you season it?
Oh, every time I use it.
Really?
I guess. Well, yeah, because you like when you use it, then you kind of like wipe it down clean, and then you put some fresh oil on it, and you put it away, and then it's just good. And all the sanitary things aside, you think like, well, it's not clean unless you put it into hot water with soap. Like, nope, it's clean enough. Just
clean enough.
It's clean enough. Just leave some of that good juju on there.
Yeah, but the flavor is amazing when it comes out of that skillet.
Oh yeah, there is some magic in there.
Right.
There's lots of meals that combine into everything that you cook on there.
I love it. So thank you for doing that. Hey, Colin.
Yes.
What's next up for the Colin Trio?
Next up, we are playing on Wednesday at the Laurel Thirst for Happy Hour, a little pre-Thanksgiving show.
Awesome.
Should be lots of fun. We've got a record that we recorded in Muscle Shoals earlier this year that's soon to come out.
Really?
So
What month are you thinking?
we're hoping for January, but we'll see.
Where can they find out about that?
So thecolintrio.com, you'll find all the good things. And of course on social media, you can find the Colin Trio.
Awesome. So we're going to talk with John here in a little bit, but I want to say thank you very much. Colin and Cheo, thank you very much. And Brian, of course, and John. So thank you so much for doing this for me. So I really appreciate it. So, all right. And I think this is back to Kristen.
If you are already on martimendenhall.com, might just want to take a little break, go get a snack or something. If you are on Facebook or YouTube Live, you'll want to switch over to martimendenhall.com, because that way you can simultaneously have a look at the cookbook packages as well as all of the opportunities for donating. Birch Community Services does so much for struggling families in need, and we urge you to help them today. So, singer-songwriter Bree Gregg was featured in Marty's first season of Marty's Music Kitchen, along with Dan Gilday, who are both in Redbird. They did, I think it was Frangelico French toast, and that recipe is featured in the cookbook that is out now, and the lovely Bree has a little message for us now.
Hi, I'm Bree Gregg, singer-songwriter for Redbird in Portland, Oregon, and we were very honored to include a recipe in Marty's Music Kitchen's Season 1 cookbook. Unfortunately, we can't be there this evening. I am traveling for the holidays, but I just wanted to send my love Marty's Way, and I also wanted to encourage you to be generous. This is a great cookbook, and a percentage of the proceeds go to Birch Community Services, which is an amazing organization that helps people with financial literacy and get a leg up during a time that they really need help. And they do it with grace and dignity for the people involved. So please be generous and enjoy the show.
1,000 people today. If you're watching us from martimendenhall.com, all you have to do is click the giant link below to have a look at all the packages. You can still watch the show from there and help out in this fundraiser. So, Marty, what do you have to tell me about that cookbook?
I am going to tell you about the cookbook. So I want to show you what the cookbook looks like, and it's awesome. I'm going to ask you. There you go. Anyway, this is the cookbook, and we've got forwards again by Mark Bitterman. You may know him from the international company, the Meadow, and also Bitterman Salt Company, which is super cool. And then also, of course, Tom D'Antoni. You just saw him earlier in the show from Oregon Music News. And this is just really cool because it's got all of the podcasts in it. And this is kind of like, here's what Tom's page looks like. And it has a link, a QR code. If you buy the physical book, you can scan it and check out the podcast so you can listen while you cook. It also has all the links to find out more about him and quotes and a little behind the scenes information. And then, for example, also, here's one from Ken DeRoshi. And he cooked an incredible spicy seafood chowder. And he showed us how to make it. There's the corn. Here's all the links and everything like that. Quotes. It's a pretty amazing thing. So I feel like it really jumps off the page. And then realizing that I usually use an online, I have my laptop in the kitchen with me when I cook mostly. So sometimes I use a physical cookbook, and sometimes I just use a PDF online. So I made an interactive PDF of the cookbook, which is very cool because you can download it once you get it on your computer. It has all of the links are live. You can just click on the link for the podcast and it plays. There are videos and outtakes and performances, some of like Suzanne Nance that you saw at the beginning of the show from All Classical. So it's just really special and fun, and my editor did an amazing job with it, and I'm super proud of both the cookbooks. So that's all about that.
As well, you should be. I have never seen a cookbook like that before, and I love it. I love that you can be cooking and also have the company of those folks that introduced the recipe to you. So now I hear you have another guest, Marty.
I do. Our next guest, his name is John Dover. John Dover Trumpet, if you want to find him online. And John was actually one of my very, very first guests. He was on the test, like the pilot episode, when I thought about this before the podcast ever came into being. And John has been my rock through this whole thing. He's also a published author, which is amazing, and not to mention an outstanding musician. And I know he's been a representative for Bach trumpets. And I can't just the amount of information he's given me and the amount of help and holding my hand. He and my friend Naomi LaViolette were the two that really inspired me to do this cookbook, to move forward with it, and climb that mountain. And I did it all because of Mr. John Dover. Thank you so much, John. And this cookbook is actually yours. I signed it over to you.
Awesome.
So thank you so much for your help.
Of course.
You're actually a published author. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, actually, my writing journey started 6-7 years ago as actually a side project to my music. Created a character called Johnny Scotch, which incidentally also came up with a musical element that we were playing around with for a while too. And what I found is that the writing started to take a little more hold than some of the music, so I just kind of leaned into it.
Wow.
So 3 Johnny Scotch books, a comic book series. I just released a new horror book this last spring, and then also have multiple short stories in different anthologies. So
That is, I'm so impressed. I mean, I have written actually several books, but I've never tried to publish them. And I haven't finished the last one, but then I always thought I was kind of between Stephen King and Dean Koontz kind of a thing. But I don't know, you inspire me in so many ways. I don't know, maybe I'll start writing again like that. But
it's time to put that other book out, Marty.
Yeah, maybe. Friends and Family Cookbook, that's next. Let's
All
just
right.
do one thing at a time.
One at a time.
So tell me about your music career a little bit. I mean, you play trumpet.
Yeah, I mean, I've done pretty much nothing else my whole life. I mean, aside from the usual musician gigs, in restaurants and sales and stuff, most of my career has been teaching and doing workshops for kids in schools.
Right.
Then I'll guest artist appearances, local performances, of course, with my own groups and multiple other groups.
Right.
Every style of music I can think of, because there's so much great music out there. Why limit yourself to just a single genre?
Right, and I can imagine you're like me. I mean, music for me, it's just so fundamental, and it moves me. I mean, it inspires me, and there's a part of my brain, it's my jazz brain, my composing brain. Once that's turned on, it's really hard for me to turn that off. You know, I mean, I like wake up in the middle of the night with another melody, and then it's a pain because then I gotta get up and write it down, and so sometimes I ignore it, and I really have learned if you open the doors for that, it really it's kind of like following the road that you're inspired, that you're meant to lead in a way. So
absolutely, and it's very invigorating. It helps you feel stronger when you're doing other things that are non-creative based. So I mean, I encourage anyone, whether it's writing, whether it's music, honestly, whether it's working out,
Right.
there's so many different art forms out there that can help inspire and to stimulate the brain. You might as well take advantage of them.
Right. So just to kind of round out our little talk here, tell me a little bit more about how you learned how to cook.
I learned how to cook mostly out of necessity because, I mean, a kid in the 80s with two working parents,
Right.
you get home and you're hungry and you call your parents and say, "What are you making for dinner?" And they echo that exactly back to you. I don't know, what are you making for dinner? So a lot of my cooking adventure was hit and miss experimentation in the kitchen early on. When my mother was around, she would make sure to show me how to do certain things. Your spaghetti sauce has to have these things in it. Your seasoning is like this. So I just learned from doing.
Right.
Very much so.
Right. Well, and let's see. We made the Lazy Man's Pina Colada.
Oh yeah.
That was delicious. And then tell me, what else did we make? What's in the recipe book?
In this one, it was chilaquiles with a green salsa, tomatillo salsa that I put together earlier in the day. So just a very relatively simple dish that honestly is one of the best hangover cures you'll ever run into. I mean, it's eggs, it's stale tortilla chips
with a
that are fried.
moniker like Johnny Scotch, I can imagine that every once in a while you may need that.
You might. I mean, especially with my latest book, I actually partnered with a distillery, and they came out with a whiskey that accompanies my book. So
that's right. You were there yesterday. What's the distillery?
Skunk Brothers Spirits out in Stevenson, Washington.
That's right. And you did book signings.
Yep, book
out
and
there.
bottle signings. So.
That's so fun. So, and just as a side note, I'm still trying to recreate the black beans with tequila in it, and I have not succeeded yet. Just like in 30 seconds, tell me how you made it.
Saute some garlic in a little bit of olive oil, black beans. You can put some onion in there too if you want.
Right.
And then salt, pepper to taste, a little bit of cumin, and of course you just add the tequila in to taste. So if it doesn't quite give you that little spark, you got to put a little more in.
Yeah.
And then once you're laying down on the ground, you've put too much in.
Then you need the chilaquiles.
Then you need the chilaquiles to bring you back in, yeah.
Right. So, well, John, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. And we're going to have you back on stage a little bit later, right?
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Marty.
So next up, we have just two women that are amazing people to me. They've made incredible careers, and they have amazing music with stunning vocals. And I want to introduce to you the soul funk diva, Arietta Ward, and also the first lady of Portland Blues, Miss LaRhonda Steele.
Hello.
Are they here? Oh, I didn't even know they were here.
In this race that we run, you gotta have endurance, 'cause it's a marathon. I was born sure enough to win, in pursuit with faith to the very end. I'm going to have strong finish, 'cause I have strong faith. I have strong finish, strong faith, strong finish, strong faith, strong finish, strong faith. Each and every day, I'll continue to run. Strong finish, strong faith, strong finish, strong faith, strong finish, strong faith, strong finish, strong faith, strong finish, strong finish, strong finish, strong finish, strong finish, strong faith, hey, strong finish, strong finish, strong finish, strong finish, strong finish, strong faith. God promised He'd be with me through every step that I take in this race by His grace. Strong finish, strong faith, strong finish, strong faith, strong finish, strong faith, strong finish, strong finish, strong faith, strong finish, strong finish, strong finish, everybody let me help me. Strong finish, strong finish, strong faith, strong finish, strong finish, strong finish, strong That was rambunctious. Yeah, that was with no sustain pedal. Is it all right? We're so happy to have Mark Steele with us on piano. So cool. Thank you, Mark, for being here. He actually had the pleasure of eating my recipe, and the reason I brought it to Marty's cookbook is because the family liked it. It's called Gloopity Glop. I just put it together. Whatever I had in the kitchen, taters, meat, some kale, and some other things. I have to read it actually to remember what I put in. You want to do one more? Sure. All right. Let's do this one in the key of B flat. Yeah. And y'all can sing along with us. Well, I'm gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my burdens, yeah, down by the riverside. Study war no more. Come on, Etta, what you gotta say now?
I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the river, down by the riverside. Study war no more, yeah. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Ain't gonna study war no more. Come on, Mr. Steele, give us a little bit.
So fantastic. Thank you very much for being here. Arietta, I have a cookbook for you. It's signed. And LaRhonda, you can look that recipe up again.
Yeah, I will have to.
So, and thank you so much, Mark, for playing. I appreciate it. So, yeah, super exciting. I'm really honored to have you both here. You guys are like, and in my book, way up there. So yeah, and I keep hoping that you guys are going to take me shopping for outfits and stuff because I need that. And you guys always look so
Arietta,
beautiful
we just follow
on
her.
stage, and
We follow, yeah.
yeah. We were recently at another charity auction, and I know that you, Arietta, were like in this gorgeous like gold dress, and I was like, wow. So
Was she in it?
Yeah. She was in the dress. Yeah, she wasn't.
Most of her was in the dress.
Secure. That's right. That's exactly right. So, so you really do amaze me. I mean, you're just an outstanding performer and singer, and I loved having you on the show. What did you cook when we were on the podcast?
I cooked my chicken vegetable soup. Yes, and it was glorious. And it's wonderful. So make sure you get the book.
Yeah, get
because you too. So make my
That's right. And it also goes to benefit Birch Community Services, helping families in need. And take a look at those packages. They start with the high amounts, but if you scroll down to the bottom, then you've got the lower amounts that you can buy. So, and still a portion of those proceeds go to helping the families with food, financial counseling, and helping build that community since they all volunteer. So really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then LaRhonda, congratulations on your recent induction into the Oregon Music Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Just such an honor. And I saw those pictures and I'm like, she was on my podcast. So yeah, and I had so much fun. And you are forever in my heart as my first official guest.
That's right.
Of the Marty's Music Kitchen podcast.
Yeah, I think I wrangled Lauren in there too, unwillingly.
Yeah, your daughter, Lo Steele, who's also a performer.
Incredible performer.
Yeah, and she just released one of her singles, right?
She did, yes. So please, is it on Bandcamp? Which one is
Well,
it?
you can find her.
Just
find her
look up
on
Lo
Instagram,
Steele.
Lo Steele, L-O, and then Steele, S-T-E-E-L-E. So, yeah, and pretty amazing. And I can remember my guy Todd was on with us on the podcast, and we had a bottle of wine, but we had nothing to open it with. So his whole sole purpose was that he went out into all the little neighborhood stores looking for we could open the bottle of wine to go with the it's not gloopity, it's
Gloopity Glop.
Gloopity Glop. I almost got it right this time.
Did.
So I remember on the outtakes, we have some outtakes where I just couldn't say it, but it was one of your kids' favorites, right?
Yeah, I just happened to be trying to find something for us to eat that was pretty healthy, and I had a little bit of this, had a little bit of that, and put it all together, and everybody thought it was amazing, so there it is. I said, Mama made gloopity glop tonight. I don't know what to call it.
And they probably thought that was just hilarious.
Yeah, they like that.
Yeah, so, well, thank you so much, both of you, for being here today and for being on the podcast. I just so appreciate
blessings to you and to everybody who buys this, and to the nonprofit that you're
Birch Community Services.
Birch Community Services.
Right, yeah. So, all right, well, I think I'm throwing it over to Kristen.
If you missed most of this launch party and you wish you got to see the beginning part, or if you saw the whole thing and you wish you could watch it all over again, we have some good news for you. There will be a recorded version of this up on martymendenhall.com and probably on a whole lot of other spots as well. Now, in addition, all of our donation packages will be live through New Year's Eve. Hey, Marty!
I'm back. Oh, sorry. Hey!
So, as I say, those donation packages will be live through New Year's Eve, so please tell your friends, keep those donations rolling in, and buy some cookbooks.
Which is awesome. And right now we've raised enough money to feed 50 families for a week of shopping, which is great. And you can come back through these links, I'm sure you said, through New Year's Eve and talk about that. So I'm super excited about that. So
yes. So, okay. What is next on the agenda for you creatively?
Well, the season 2 Marty's Music Kitchen podcast cookbook is going to come out in the summer, so I'm super excited about that. But I'm also going to be going back into the studio. I'm going to release a single, and then I'm planning on releasing a video with that in the spring. So I'm really excited about that. So it's super fun.
Fantastic. Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, and I've got something for you.
Oh, what could it be?
What could it be? I don't know. The same thing I've been giving out this whole time. So, Kristen, I have your cookbook. So
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love it.
I love it. I love it as well. So, so there you go.
Yeah. I can't wait to be in season 2.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. What did you cook in season 2?
Well, the Starella sisters and I, or at least 5 of the 7 Starella sisters, joined you at Signana Starella's home and made fancy cocktails and hors d'oeuvres.
I do remember this because we had so many dishes out in the kitchen. It was pretty amazing, and I loved it.
We are kind of a 15-ring circus, aren't we?
Right.
Yeah.
But it was super fun, and the conversation was great, and the food was amazing. I know I kept trying to get you for the ingredients
That's right.
for one of the things that you cooked. What'd you cook for me?
I cooked deviled eggs, and guess what I've got for you today?
Did you really?
Would you like a deviled egg?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, good.
Oh my gosh, check it out.
These are my Showboat deviled eggs.
Okay, this right here, this is a Showboat deviled egg. I don't know if you can see it.
Doesn't look like much.
The flavor in this, it's like a hint of smoke. I swear it's a hint of smoke. It's so delicious, and I've raved about them, and she wouldn't give me her super secret ingredient.
Well, yes, I will give you all the rest of them, though. There are so many other ingredients, so it's really close to what I make. Very, very close.
Oh,
but
this is so good. I mean,
them.
really, just delicious. Thank you very much for bringing this. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. So, yeah, as much fun as we had on the podcast with you, I have even been enjoying listening to all of your podcasts even more. And I mean, if you have not signed up for Marti's newsletter, I absolutely encourage you to do so. You can hear about all the new episodes and all the other wonderful things that Marti is doing. And if you're currently on martimendenhall.com, I believe the link to sign up for the newsletter is just under the giant link for cookbooks. Is that correct, Marti?
Yeah, it's somewhere down there. It says newsletter.
So you'll see us on martimendenhall.com, and then the giant link. And by the way, about that giant link, please, yes, we would love to get your donations. Those packages are available through New Year's Eve, but yeah, just as soon as you possibly can, if you are able. We would love so much to get your donations toward Birch Community Services, and we would just love to get your support for to just purchase these cookbooks of Marti's. They are so much fun. So, okay, now there is another voice that we need to hear from Birch Community Services. Let's listen to that now.
People thinking about donating to Birch, that Birch is a life-changing program. It's also a holistic program. BCS absolutely understands all the barriers that families in this program face to achieve financial freedom. Like I said, it's a financial program before it's a food program. Food and consumables are just part of the support. It's just unbelievable. We got to start a savings account, which we would have never did before Birch. I have managed to put $4,000 in a savings account in a year. I think to some people $4,000 doesn't feel like a lot of money, but to me it feels like a ton of money. And it's just so nice. Like, I know my stepsister would always say, "Oh, your fridge is so neat and nice." I'm like, yeah, because it like never had that much food in it. And now it's like a total mess. I think my husband's always like, "I can't find anything in here." And like, how amazing, right? Like a moment to stop and that my fridge is packed and messy. And the pantry, we actually had to install an extra shelf in our tiny apartment for pantry food, which we had never had before. And literally for 30 days, I made nothing but what I was getting from here. And my husband just expressed so much gratitude about how good the food was and what a phenomenal job I was doing. I was like, what? Like, I mean, it felt so good. I love this program so much. Like, I just love it so much that volunteering is one of those ways that you get to show your gratitude. And I know that people here really need help. In this unprecedented time in which we're living, I am even more grateful for Birch because it's like this rock that has continued to allow me as one of the providers in my family to maintain this sense of joy and normalcy.
You believed that we were meant to
dream will still be with us in every way. It's true because I believe in you. You have made me look toward paradise. You have taught me how to dream. You have made me see just all that we can be. But remember where we've been. So I believe the time may pass us by, and I believe that every time we fly, the dream will still be with us in every way. It's true because I'm in love with you. Woohoo! Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Kristen, here we are near the end of the show.
I know.
We made it.
I know. Now, I know that you have somebody that special that you
I
want
know.
to
I want to give a special shout out to Terry Briggs. I know she's online today, and she is like an integral part of Marty's Music Kitchen. She's helped us in so much of the scheduling and the coordination of everyone, and I just deeply appreciate you, Terry. So thank you for being with us today.
Yeah. So I know we're reaching the end of this.
I know, I'm so sad.
I know, me too. But don't forget, this will be recorded, or it is being recorded, and you'll be able to watch it again. You could be on an infinite loop of the Marty's Music Kitchen release party.
All of those links are going to be right underneath. And again, it's helping, just the perfect time of year to help people in need, and Birch Community Services is a fantastic organization. So be sure to click on that link, scroll through the packages, take a look, and see if you give what you can. So there you go.
And if you enjoy Marty's creative endeavors, you might want to check out her Patreon. So I know that you have lots to say about your patrons.
Okay, so first of all, here, can I borrow that cookbook?
Yes.
The patrons on patreon.com, they're like patrons of the arts. So they help, they give a small stipend every month toward the Marty's Music Kitchen endeavors and my videos and my music, as small as $3 a month and as much as $20 a month. And it is so helpful. It has helped me so much to be able to create things like this and to help other people, and also to create this cookbook. And they are actually on the very first page right here. I thank all of my patrons, and I'm just gonna, it says dedicated to my patrons from the bottom of my heart. I say thank you, and I'm just gonna read them off right now. So Don Bartel, Kelly Brown, DC Gothic, Linda Dick, Nina Dunn, Paul Kennedy Elliott, Roger and Debbie Espinar from Sister Mercy, they're also in the cookbook, Michael Jude, David Harmon, Cindy Harris, Joey Herbert, Brenda Quint Gable, Peter Gunn, and Leanne Flandreau. I know they're watching today, so that's awesome. Jerry Haskins, Greg and Angela O'Neill, which is awesome, Antonio Torres, Marquita and John Kudra, Amy Johnson, Naomi Violette. You should check her out. She's amazing. Nora Tim and Todd Weedman. So that's how much I love my patrons. I put them in the cookbook. So if you want to check that out, go to patreon.com/Marti Mendenhall.
Yeah, there are plenty of costs behind this cookbook as well as Marty's podcast. So if you will consider supporting her, we would be so grateful.
Yes, thank you. So,
well,
I think that's it.
I think
Almost.
maybe we're just about ready to. Do you want to sing us out?
I think since these guys are with me, we should sing it out.
Yeah.
And you know, anybody can pop up on stage and join me if you want to. I'm not opposed to that. So, Mark, I say just hit something and let us just start. So I'll just start scatting. Give me a good beat Mark, you want to take a chorus?